Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. My predictions for this week's top 5 would be that number 1 would be Goosebumps, number 2 would be Crimson Peak, number 3 would be Bridge of Spies, number 4 would be The Martian, and number 5 would be Hotel Transylvania 2. And as far as other predictions have gone, I got 3 out of 5 right, which is better, but I haven't gotten 5 out of 5 right yet, which is, why? But let's get right on into it. Number 1 was Goosebumps, but what concerns me is it only made $23 million this weekend, and you might be thinking, well, that's fine, but the budget for Goosebumps is $58 million, so maybe it might not make as much money as it should. I'm pretty sure that it'll get close to $58 million, but it won't go, like, over and beyond it, you know? I'm kind of concerned by that, because Goosebumps was actually a pretty good movie, but nonetheless, it did better than the other movies on here. It was a very slow weekend for movies. Number 2 was The Martian, making $21 million this weekend, adding to a total gross of $143 million, and I'm very proud by that because I love The Martian. As you know, it's one of my favorites of the whole year, and even though I wish some people would have gone out to see the new movies that were released this weekend, I am glad that people are going out to see it, because it is definitely worth your money. Now, here's where we get into some troubling stuff. Number 3 was Steven Spielberg's Bridge of Spies, making only $15 million on a budget of $40 million. That is concerning because, number 1, it's a Steven Spielberg movie, and no one went to see it. And number 2, its budget is $40 million, and it made $15 million this weekend, so it's probably not going to get over its budget, which is very concerning, because Bridge of Spies, even though I haven't reviewed it yet, was actually a great movie. I can see why it might not be for some people, but come on, just go see it, come on! Number 4 was Crimson Peak, another Guillermo del Toro bomb. If you remember, 2013's Pacific Rim bombed terribly, and now Crimson Peak is bombing terribly, making only $12,850,000, and on a budget of $55 million, that is pretty bad. I don't know why people aren't going out to see Guillermo del Toro's movies. Maybe it's because Crimson Peak apparently isn't amazing or something like that. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully when I'll do, I'll like it, because I kind of like Guillermo del Toro. Anyways, number 5 was Hotel Transylvania 2, making $12,250,000 this weekend, adding to a total gross of $136 million. And I am glad that people are actually going to see a good Adam Sandler movie and not letting a good Adam Sandler movie bomb, and, letting the bad Adam Sandler movie bombs, like, Pixels. That bombed horribly, thank God, because it was really bad. Anyways, number 6 was Pan, speaking of movies that bomb. You'll notice that there are a lot of bombings happening in the box office, and I don't mean like literal bombings, I mean, box office bombs, as far as money. You know what I'm talking about. Number 6 was Pan, making only $5 million, adding to its total gross of $25 million. Pan, ooh, you tried, but your budget is $150 million. There is no way you're getting that back. Sorry. Number 7 was The Intern, a movie that isn't bombing, $5,405,000, and adds to a total gross of $58 million, which is pretty good. I haven't seen the movie, I hear it's decent, so hey, maybe I'll see it someday over the rainbow. Who knows? Number 8 was Sicario. It made $4 million this weekend, adding to a total gross of $34 million, and it just passed its budget of $30. I'm very glad by this, but it is a very dark movie, so I can understand why not as many people would go out to see it, but I think people should watch it once and then just leave it alone forever. I think that's how you watch Sicario. Number 9 was a movie I've never even heard of called Woodlawn, so here's a picture of it, making $4 million. Congratulations. Don't know what movie you are, though. And finally, at number 10 was Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials, making $2 million, adding to a total gross of $75 million. Let's talk about this for a second. The first Maze Runner movie ended its total domestic run at around $100 million, and now Maze Runner 2 is almost out of the top 10 entirely and has only made $75 million. I know it's only got a couple weeks left until it's out of theaters entirely, but it's only at $75 million right now. I mean, come on, like, you're trying to make the last installment The Death Cure, but clearly you're gonna need a really high budget, but this movie just barely got it back. I mean, good luck with that, Maze Runner. And finally, let's predict what happens next week at the box office. There's actually a lot of movies coming out. Gem and the Holograms, Paranormal Activity 5, Last Witch Hunter, Steve Jobs finally opens everywhere. So let's try to predict what's happening. Number 1, I'm going to say is Paranormal Activity, and number 2, I'm going to have to say maybe Gem and the Holograms, unfortunately, because that looks like trash. Number 3, I think will be Goosebumps. Number 4, I think will be Steve Jobs. And I think number 5 will be Last Witch Hunter, because Last Witch Hunter seems like that kind of movie that'll bomb horrifically, even though it looks kind of interesting. You know what I mean? So I'm going to guess that it comes out at the number 5 spot. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below. And if you got the predictions for this week's box office right, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless no one got it right, then whoops. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.